Hey guys, so today we are going to do the deck I've been talking about. This is a deck I call Ninja Dragons. I put, now that I've bought a few of these quiver boxes, I've been putting actual names on the top. Because I've had a few of these boxes and some of the, what's that other company? Oh, Game Genic or some of the Game Genic ones. And they have a space for a, deck name, and I hadn't been putting any. And then when I would go through my decks to pick out something for the night, I'd have to open everything. So I finally just bite the bullet and wrote on them with a Sharpie, so I remember what the heck the deck is. So this deck with its thematic sleeves, which I found at my local game store, is basically positioned around Koro and Suduro from the March of the Machines set, and this is a very good, it's a great commander. It's a 3-drop, a red, a black, and a blue, and it's a 3/4, so it's not, nobody's going to lightning bolt it, which I always think is important for commanders on the cheap side. You don't want to die to a shock or something the minute you get it out. But they read, whenever one or more creatures you control that entered the battlefield this turn deal combat damage to a player, create a 5/5 red dragon spirit creature token with flying. And they also have a pump ability, kind of. You pay 2, 1 red and 1 generic, and your creatures gain haste until end of turn. So obviously this builds into this feature because the creature that grants you this 5/5 dragon spirit has to have entered the battlefield this turn. So if you have the mana, you can give your creatures haste, and there we go. So this deck, honestly, I played it this past week. It did very well. As I mentioned in another video, we ran into a Brina deck that had, he had Zatalp out. He had that Vampire Regent that doubles its counters basically when it hits you. And he also had a Ghostly Prison and a Duelist Heritage out. I should have countered the Ghostly Prison. That makes you pay 2 for each creature that's attacking the player. I had a counter in hand, and I kept holding on to it for some reason. And then I never really got to use it, so should have done that. Had I realized that he was going to be the main threat on the field, I would have done that. But I was able to quickly get 4 dragons onto the board, before really anybody knew what was happening. So let's take a look. This deck is mostly built around having unblockable creatures, and then a few different ways to get haste. So, and honestly, blue has a lot of 1-drop unblockables, or 2-drop. Red has a lot of haste creatures, so if you're early enough and nobody has a blocker, you can quickly get a dragon. And black has a few unblockables too. Here's a Changing Outcast. Can't block and can't be blocked, so we put him out to, do our 2-drop for giving him haste, and there's a dragon. We have a 1-drop Reinforced Ronin. He is a 2/2 with haste, and at the beginning or end step he comes back to your hand. So, if it's early game, you can repeatedly throw this guy out at whoever doesn't have a creature for blocking, and there you go. Tricks of the Trade. Enchanted creature gets +2/+0 and can't be blocked. So this is more for late game with a 4-drop, after people have gotten their blocks out, just making sure we get in. This is a great little enchantment, Sneak Attack. You pay 1, and you may put a creature card from your hand onto the battlefield. They gain haste. sack the creature, or you have to sack the creature at the beginning of the next end step. So this is a good, making sure that you have creatures with haste. And since a lot of the creatures in this deck are unblockable, yes, I'm sacrificing them, but I'm basically sacking one of these goblins for the dragon in the picture. So well worth the trade-off. And then, of course, the other thing that we have a good amount of is ninjutsu. So, when ninjutsu procs, basically, if I have one of these unblockable creatures like the Changeling Outcast, he gets through even if it's the second or third turn he's been out, and we can ninjutsu out a creature, which then counts as a creature that came out this turn, and get a dragon off of them. So, we have Moon Circuit Hacker ninjutsu for 1, which is incredibly good for this deck. And when they do combat damage to a player, I can draw a card. So, doubly good there. We're going to get a dragon and a card out of it. We have Alchemist Gambit. This is really just an endgame thing. So take an extra turn after this one. During that turn, damage can't be prevented. At the beginning of that turn's end step, you lose the game. That's only if you don't pay the cleave cost. Realistically, unless you know you can win in that second turn, you would want to be paying the cleave cost, but that's not too bad. If you have 10 dragons on the board, you're probably going to win in that extra turn anyways. We have a Glitter Fang, just a 1-drop haste. At the end of turn, return him to your hand. So, just like the Reinforced Ronin, we can shoot him out over and over and over and over. Helm of the Gas Lord. This is really more protection for Goro, and Satoru than anything. As long as enchanted creature is blue, it gets +1/+1. And if it deals damage to opponent, draw a card. And if it's also black, it gets +1/+1. And that whenever the creature deals combat damage, that player discards a card. So a good thing to, if we put this on Satoru and Goro, they're going to be a 5/6 and be a lot harder to get rid of. We have a Hammer of Porphyros. This gives all your creatures haste. So then all of our creatures who are coming onto the battlefield and not able to block, now they have haste. We don't have to worry about paying this too. Ninja of the Deep Hours, Ninjutsu 2, or Ninjutsu 2. When he deals combat damage, draw a card. So a lot like that Moon Circuit Hacker. Plus, it's just like totally Shinobi, right? A Biting Palm Ninja. So Ninjutsu 3, and he comes out with a Menace counter. If he deals combat damage, you can remove the Menace counter. If you do, that player reveals their card. You choose an online card from it and they exile that card. So some removal along with the dragon that you're going to get out of that action. We have a Phantom Ninja, so a 3-drop for 2/2 that can't be blocked. Traveler's Cloak. This basically gives land walk of whatever type you choose when you play it. And when it comes into play, you draw a card also. Exotic Orchard. Add 1 mana of any color. So that's always a good staple for your land base. Ember Gale. Creatures target player controls can't block this turn. And it deals 1 damage to each white and or blue creature that player controls. That would have been good if I had had that in my hand and enough mana for the Ghostly Present. We have a Rabbit Battery, just a 1/1 with haste. You can refigure it if you needed to, so I guess, after turn 1, if this comes out and hits, you could then reconfigure for 1 and give a unblockable creature 1/1 in haste, and then there you go again. False Demise. When enchanted creature is put into a graveyard, return that creature to play under your control. So this is for your command built so specifically all around your commander, I always try to make a good amount of protection. Prosperous Thief, Ninjutsu 2. Whenever one or more ninja or rogue creatures you control deal combat damage, create a treasure token. So she'll come out and ninjutsu out, hopefully hit somebody, and then all of a sudden we're going to start creating treasure tokens because we have a good amount of ninjas and rogues in this set. Now this is a very handy card from, I believe this is Portal, and each color has this type of card. This is a Nightscape Familiar, and blue and red spells you play cost 1 less to cast. So he basically makes the entire deck 1 less to cast, 1 generic. And for 2 you can regenerate him just in case. Most 3 colors have a creature like that. They are older cards, so I don't know if everybody sees those on a regular basis. Invisible Stalker. 2-drop, he's unblockable, and he has hexproof. So if I want to be putting some, if I just want to make a big unstoppable creature, could always do that also. He's also a rogue, so he would be getting treasures for us from that ninja that we just saw. This is the Cyclops of Eternal Fury. All my creatures have haste. So, easy way to make sure that everybody popping out has haste and we don't have to pay for that. I have Flitterstep Eidolon, 2-drop for 1/1, can't be blocked. Or, you could bestow it for 6, but that is pretty expensive. For this deck, we're just looking to play him as is and get him through. And, the big part of this is playing a card like this, getting through, getting that dragon. And then, next turn, hopefully you would ninjutsu this out so that you get another dragon and you get the ability to play this card again. We have Ninja of the New Moon, a 4-drop ninjutsu for 6/3. So, if we can get a 1-drop out, get our 1 hit, and then ninjutsu it for this creature, we're doing 6 damage, getting a dragon, and we're returning one of those unblockable creatures to our hand to play again. Emblem of the Warmind. Enchant creature you control, so probably put it on your commander. And then creatures you control have haste. So, for the price of 1 activation of this secondary ability, we're just going to have that ability all the time. Very good. Cloak of Invisibility. Enchanted creature gaze phasing and can't be blocked except by walls. So this would be, these evasion spells are good if they're cheap. Like, you could put this on your Cyclops of Eternal Fury when he comes out, and all of a sudden you have a 5/3 unblockable, creature to aid with the blocking later in game. We have Goblin War Drums. Each attacking creature you control can't be blocked by less than 2 creatures, so it basically, the new wording on this is your creatures have menace. This is the old Fallen Empires card. I like that. It's cute. We have Aqua's Form, a 1-drop, and the creature can't be blocked, and when they attack, you scry 1. So again, put this on a creature that you dropped for, haste. All of a sudden you could drop 1/1 haste and make them unblockable same turn. And there you go. And then, of course, because of the 2-creature commander here, we can also play Goro himself. Now he is a 2-drop for a 2/2 legendary Goblin Samurai. For 1, creatures you control gain haste until end of turn. So he has the same ability as here, but for cheaper. And then if you have extra mana, for 5, we can create a 5/5 Red Dragon Spirit with flying. Um, you can only activate that if you control an attacking modified creature. So you don't have to get through, honestly, with this one. But, if we have a creature that already has Aqua's form on it, then there you go. Now we have another engine for making more dragons. And I'll say, during our game, I did not get to a lot of these cards. I was rolling pretty well just with Goro and a couple other things. Since we have blue, I want to have a couple counters, so here's just a 2-drop remove soul to counter your target creature. Oldie but goodie. We have an arcane signet, because that's kind of eponymous nowadays. Shore Stalker, 1-drop for a can't be blocked creature. One of the guys at the table was like, I would have just filled that with 1-drop haste. It's like, well, that's good to begin with, but late game, once we've got blockers, that's really not going to help you. Magnetic Chasm, creatures without flying can't block this turn, so this is a good way to get through if you're just having issues with their blockers. We also have Nashi, who used to be my rat commander, but then I got a better one. So for 4, Ninjutsu's out, and if he deals combat damage to a player, exile the top card of each player's library, and until end of turn you may play one of those cards. If you cast it this way, you pay its mana value by paying your life equal to the mana value. So, realistically it gets rid of 4 cards off the top, and then you can play one of those. Even if you don't have mana, you're going to be able to play it. We have an access tunnel. Target creature with power 3 or less can't be blocked this turn, so this is a good way. If you do have a 1-drop haste creature come out and you don't have a way of making him blockable, you can pay 3 and make him unblockable. Military Intelligence. Whenever you attack with 2 or more creatures, draw a card. So just some easy card draw because you are going to be swinging. Command Tower. Now this is a fun one. Lithoform Engine. For 2 and tap, you can tap copy target activated or triggered ability you control. So this is basically to copy the creation of these dragons. For 3 and a tap, you can copy target instant or sorcery spell you control. And for 4, you can copy target permanent spell you control. Realistically, I'm mostly using this for to copy Goro's triggered ability and to make 2 dragons rather than 1, because this is whenever 1 or more creatures. So realistically, you're going to get 1 dragon per turn. With this, you can make that 2 dragons per turn just by paying 2. Well worth the price. Thraximunder is a 6/6 with haste. Whenever he attacks, defending player sacks a creature. And whenever a player sacks a creature, you may put a 1/1 counter on him. He's very good for, late game. This is triggering when he attacks, not before blockers. And if you put that Helm of Gastlord on him, he's going to make that whoever's having to block this poor bastard is, he's having to sack a defending creature. And when Thraximunder gets through, which he probably will, because he's a 7/7 immediately, he'll be if we put Gastlord on him, he'd be a 9/9 immediately. If he gets through and hits, that player's going to have to discard a card, and I'm going to get to draw a card. So this is he's just a beat stick. He's a haste beat stick is what he is. Hikuri the Still Wind. Ninjutsu for 4. Whenever Hikuri deals combat damage to a player, you may search your library for a ninja card, reveal it, and put it it into your hand. So this is a great card. This is one of the best ninja cards in the game, because he's finding you ninjas. And then for 2, he can make a target ninja unblockable. So realistically, he can ninjutsu out, find a ninja, and then if you want to keep doing that, you can just pay 2 and make him unblockable over and over and over, and just ninjutsu out everything in your freaking deck. Pongify, just an easy creature removal. Destroy target creature, it can't be regenerated. Its controller gets a monkey. So, make their big threat into a 3/3 monkey. That's a good trade. Enthrall of the Pit. Gain control of target creature until end of turn. Untap that creature, it gains haste. If the spell was kicked, sacrifice that creature at the beginning of the next end step. Had I drawn this, I could have taken control of his vampire regent and number 1, hit him with it, and if he didn't block, he would die. And number 2, with the kicker cost, I could have made him sack it. So unfortunately, I didn't draw that card. But Footfall Crater, enchant land, and the enchanted land has tap to target creature gains trample and haste until end of turn. So very good. Just another haste outlet, basically. Tuck Rebel Fort, 0/3 with defender and reach. Creatures you control have haste. So just another blanket giving everybody haste. Mark of Fury, this is a 1-drop to give creature haste. At end of turn, return Mark of Fury to its owner's hand. So this is a great way of 1-drop haste, 1-drop haste, 1-drop haste back to your hand every turn. So this is, this ability, but cheaper. A very good way of getting everybody onto the battlefield and with haste. Okiba Gang Shinobi, ninjutsu for 4, and when they deal combat damage, that player discards 2 cards. We have Setris, the Traitor King. Each creature in your graveyard has Unearth 3. So for 3, return that card to the battlefield. They gain haste. Exile it at the beginning of the next end step, or if it would leave the battlefield. So this allows me to recur those creatures that are unblockable if I've either lost them or have no other way of bringing them back out. Say they are destroyed with a board wipe or something, all of a sudden I have hopefully 5 or 6 creatures in my graveyard who I can pay 3 to, play them with haste. They get through immediately, and boom. Silver Fur Master. He's got Ninjutsu 2. He's just a 2-drop in general. Ninjutsu abilities you activate cost 1 less to activate. And other ninja and rogue creatures you control get +1/+1. So he's making all of our ninjutsu cheaper. He's making the ninjas and rogues stronger, which is, the bulk of the creatures in the deck. Just a great, he's basically Master Splinter for our deck here. He's also Bumgar. Well, no, he's not Bumgar Commander. Our commander is a Goblin Human. That should be Goblin Ninja or something. Goblin Javelier, just a 1/1 haste. If he comes blocked, he deals 1 damage to the creature blocking him. Fists of the Demigod. As long as enchanted creature is black, it gets +1/+1 and has Wither. Creatures with Wither deal combat damage to creatures in the form of -1/-1 counters, so they keep the damage. As long as it's red, it gets +1/+1 and has First Strike. So this is something that I would put on the Thraximunder to basically make him a 8/8 with Wither and First Strike. At that point, nobody's going to be blocking him. He's just going to be hitting them, and they're going to be sacking creatures, and he's going to get 1/1 counters. So late game beat stick. Just your regular bought a box of that and happily got a good amount of counter spells. I think I had one or two from my old playing days, but not a huge amount. Invisibility. Enchanted creature can't be blocked except by walls. This is another thing you might want to just put on a beat stick late game. Tormented Soul. One drop can't be blocked. Tokuchi Silencer. Ninjutsu for 2, and if he deals combat damage, you may discard a creature card. When you do, destroy target creature or planeswalker that player controls. So some cool removal for pretty cheap, honestly. And you can do that over and over. Realistically, if you had this out, plus that Trader King with the recursion, you could just start throwing creatures into the graveyard, destroying your opponent's creatures, and then recurring them. Mokutai Ambusher, just a Ninjutsu 2 with lifelink. And you know, if we have Mr. Splinter out, this is basically Ninjutsu 1, just a 1 black. We have Unbrask the Unhidden. Creatures you control have haste, and creatures your opponents control enter the battlefield tapped, so doubly vicious. Sig River Cutthroat. At the beginning of each end step, if an opponent lost 3 or more life this turn, draw a card. So realistically, that's going to be happening pretty frequently. He's also a rogue, so he'd get bumped by some of the other cards, and it's some easy card draw. Now this I did get out. This is a game changer, depending on your mana base. Satoru Umizawa. He is a 3-drop for a 2/4, and of course he is part of the Goro and Satoru. Whenever you activate an ninjutsu ability, you may look at the top 3 cards of your library, put one of them into your hand and the rest on the bottom. Each creature card in your hand has ninjutsu 4, so if you have Master Splinter out, this is ninjutsu 3, and all of a sudden every creature you have can flip out with one of these unblockable creatures. So I need to shuffle this because I have all my lands in one place. Handwire Battlements. You can tap for 1 generic, or you can red and tap to put basically target creature gains haste. This is one of those ones that turns into like some crazy mutant freaky thing, but we're just playing it for the haste ability because it's cheaper than our commander's ability. Metathran Soldier, unblockable. He is 2, but you do run out of unblockable creatures eventually. Oh, this is a good one that I was able to play. It would have helped more if I hadn't been in a bad position with the Ghostly Prison, but this is Marchesa of the Black Throne. She has Dethrone, so whenever this creature attacks the player with the most life or tied for most life, put a 1/1 counter on it. Other creatures you control have Dethrone, so you can make your unblockable creatures, you can slowly be pumping them. And then whenever a creature you control with a 1/1 counter on it dies, return that card to the battlefield under your control at the beginning of the next end step. So, you know, if you do get through and you get a 1/1 counter, which you should be able to if you're putting, you know, if you're swinging with your unblockables, then you put a counter on them. And then if something happens where they do die, you get those cards back. Now this was an inclusion just for fun. I ninjutsu'd this out. So this is the old Nicobolus. He is a 8-drop if you pay for him. But I got him out when I had Satoru out, so I hit them with an unblockable creature, and then I ninjutsu'd out Nicobolus to do 7 to them. And when he deals combat damage to an opponent, that player discards his or her hand. So one of the people I thought was going to be an early issue ninjutsu'd out, hit them with this, and made him discard his hand, and he was basically done for the game. I should have done this to the guy with the ghostly prison, but I didn't know he was going to be an issue. We have just to assassinate, destroy target tap creature. This is the counter spell I had in hand, which I should have played. It's a 1-drop for an offer you can't refuse. Counter target non-creature spell. Its controller creates 2 treasure tokens. So, they get something, but depending on what you counter, a 1-drop counter can be really devastating. We're getting into the cards that actually play it on Wednesday at this point. Phantom Warrior, 3-drop for a 2/2 that can't be blocked. Mistcloak Herald, 1-drop for can't be blocked. So early on, I just, got these guys out when I was hitting people and paying the haste and making dragons. Monastery Swift Spear, so 1-drop for 1/2 with haste and prowess. So I was able to hit some guy who didn't have any blockers with her. Same thing with this Legion Loyalist, 1-drop for 1/1 with haste. And he also gives creatures first strike and trample if he attacks with 2 other creatures. And they can't be blocked by creature tokens, so that helps with the unblockable part. But, early game I was able to get these guys out once I had, basically I didn't put anything out until I had Gorgor and Satoru. And then the minute I got them out, I was playing these cheap haste and unblockable cards. 1 for 1/2 can't be blocked. So once you have Gorgor out, you have 3 mana. That enables you to basically pay any 1-drop and then the haste function here. So, if they do have a blocker, you hopefully would play one of these. If you have an opponent that doesn't have a blocker, you pay one of these and hit that guy and make a dragon. So it gets out of hand really quick. I really enjoyed playing the deck. I'm going to bring it for this Wednesday because I don't think I got my full money's worth out of it. Simply because, honestly, the guy that won the game with his Taya and Brina deck, he killed us last week just because we were all playing decks that didn't have much flying. And he was able to get his Brina up to some stupid amount of counters and just hit us with it. So if he brings this particular player only has I think he's got 4 or 5 decks, but he only ever plays 2 of them on a regular basis. So if we see Brina, I might have to play this again and hopefully have that counter out to drop that ghostly prison and kill him off. But I hope you guys enjoyed that. This is a very good deck. That was a fun one. So I hope you guys have a good day, and we'll see you again later.